Hello everyone, and welcome to Music Therapy. My name is Melaine Pullman, and I'm a board certified music therapist. I'm thrilled to have you join me today for our online virtual music therapy group, and I look forward to seeing you next week in person. Let's get started today by welcoming each other to our time with a little bit of Hail, Hail, the gang's all here. We're going to change the words as we usually do and say, Hail, Hail, the gang's all here. Aren't we glad to see them? Hail, Hail, the gang's all here. Aren't we glad to see them? Aren't we glad to see them? Hail, Hail, the gang's all here. Aren't we glad to see them now? Hail, Hail, the gang's all here. Aren't we glad to see them? Aren't we glad to see them? Hail, Hail, the gang's all here. Aren't we glad to see them now? Aren't we glad to see them now? I wonder if you can think about things that you're happy to see now that summer is here. We're going to have a little bit of focus on summer today in our group, and so we'll say, Hail, Hail, summer's here. Aren't we glad to see it? Aren't we glad to see it? Hail, Hail, summer's here. Aren't we glad to see it now? Aren't we glad to see it now? I wonder if you can think about the aspects of summer that you're happy to see. Are there certain aspects of the weather that you're excited about? Are there certain aspects of the food? Are there certain parts of summer and the activities that we can do that are exciting for you? Hail, hail, summer's here. Aren't we glad to see it? Aren't we glad to see it? Hail, hail, summer's here. Aren't we glad to see it now? Aren't we glad to see it now? How do you feel about the sun that is here as part of summer? Hail, hail, the sun shines here. Aren't we glad to see it? Aren't we glad to see it? Hail, hail, the sun shines here. Aren't we glad to see it now? Aren't we glad to see it now? Are you one of those that enjoys the warmth and the heat of summer? Maybe you can say, Hail, hail, the heat is here. Hail, hail, the heat is here. Aren't we glad to see it? Aren't we glad to see it? Hail, hail, the heat is here. Aren't we glad to see it now? Aren't we glad to see it now? How about all this rain that we've had these last, almost a week, right? All this rain that we've had. Are you happy to see the rain showers? Are you happy to see them end a little bit today as I record this? Hail, hail, the rain is here. We're not so glad to see it. We're not so glad to see it. Hail, hail, we're gonna rain's all here. We're not so glad to see it now. We're not so glad to see it now. What other parts of summer are you happy about? Are you excited to have the 4th of July right around the corner? Hail, hail, the 4th is here. Aren't we glad to see it? Aren't we glad to see it? Hail, hail, the 4th is here. Aren't we glad to see it now? Aren't we glad to see it now? Maybe you're a baseball fan and you're happy to see baseball season here, alive and well, right? Hail, hail, baseball's here. Aren't we glad to see it? Aren't we glad to see it? Hail, hail, baseball's here. Aren't we glad to see it now? Aren't we glad to see it now? I wonder what other parts of summer you are excited about this year. What about vacation? Anybody gonna take a trip somewhere? If not a real trip, maybe a trip down memory lane can work, right? Hail, hail, vacation's here. Aren't we glad to see it? Aren't we glad to see it? Hail, hail, vacation's here. Aren't we glad the spot open in the song this time, and you need to put in something that's meaningful for you. You can yell it out at the top of your lungs since we're not all together. But think about what is something that you're excited about right now. Something of summer that you're excited about. Hail, hail is here. Aren't we glad to see it? Aren't we glad to see it? Hail, hail is here. Aren't we glad to see it now? Aren't we glad to see it now? And even though we're not able to gather in person for this particular group, I'm happy to have you join us today. And so we'll wrap it up with Hail, hail, the gang's all here. Hail, hail, the gang's all here. Aren't we glad to see them? Aren't we glad to see them? Hail, hail, the gang's all here. Aren't we glad to see them now? Aren't we glad to see them now? Thanks for joining me for our music therapy group today. As I mentioned, our theme today is going to kind of center around the idea of summer. And we'll also talk about the 4th of July as a holiday that we experience during the summer months. As we get ready to move on to the next part of our group, we'll be taking some time to exercise our minds as we usually do. We know that music is a very, very healthy and inexpensive way to exercise our mind and to keep it nice and young and sharp and clear as much as we can as we grow older. So for our next segment, when we exercise our mind, we'll be thinking about musical categories today. And I encourage you, as we take a little bit of a break here, to grab a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil, because I'm going to ask you to write down some song titles that come to mind. And it'll be helpful if you can have something to jot something down on. So as we get ready to close out this segment, go ahead and take a second or a couple minutes to grab some paper and grab something to write with. And I'll be right back. As we've mentioned before, music is a really healthy way to exercise your mind, especially as we grow older and as our mind might become a little fuzzier or not as clear as it used to be. Today, as we focus on exercising our mind with music, we're going to use musical categories. And I recently just asked you to grab a piece of paper and a pencil so that you could jot down some song titles that might come to mind for the various categories that we're about to discuss. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to ask you to come up with 2 songs that go along with each category that we describe or we talk about. For example, since we're getting ready for the 4th of July, let's go ahead and think of patriotic songs first. I wonder if you can just stop and close your eyes for a second and think about all of the patriotic music that you know. Take a second just to close your eyes and maybe think about your favorite patriotic song. As you think about it, I wonder if you can think of any songs that have the word Yankee in them. Maybe jot those down on your piece of paper, or you can even say them in your mind and repeat them out loud if you want. But 2 songs that have the word Yankee in them. I'll give you a little bit of time, and then we'll see if we can come up with them together. Were you able to come up with 2 songs that have Yankee in the title? How about I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy? Or just good old-fashioned Yankee Doodle. That works too, right? Okay, thinking again about our patriotic songs, let's think of a couple of songs that talk about the flag. 2 songs that talk about the flag. I'll pause here and we'll take a little bit of time, see if you can write down those 2 songs or say them in your mind that talk about the flag. Were you able to come up with 2 songs that talk about the flag? Maybe you came up with Your Grand Old Flag. Mm-hmm. Or maybe you came up with the Star Spangled Banner, which is written about our flag, right? Right? Good job. So 2 songs about the flag. Now let's switch gears. Let's go ahead and think about songs about places. And because we're on this kind of summer 4th of July kick right now, let's think about 2 songs that talk about places in America. Specifically, let's think of 2 songs that talk about states within the United States. On your piece of paper, can you jot down or write down 2 songs that have a state's name in the title? Were you able to think of any? 2 songs that have to do with a state in our union, the United States of America. You could have come up with Georgia on My Mind, California, Here I Come, could have been My Old Kentucky Home, Deep in the Heart of Texas, The Missouri Waltz, Sidewalks of New York, right? All kinds of different songs that talk about states within our union. Blue Hawaii, right? All sorts of different songs that we might have talked about that have to do with states in our union. Let's continue. Let's think about places that we could visit. Specifically, let's do cities this time. Can you think of 2 songs that have a city in the title? A United States city in the title. Go ahead and take a second and write those down or think of them in your mind and think about 2 cities that have songs about them. Have you been able to think about 2 songs with a city? If we think about some of our choices, we could have Chicago, my kind of town, New York, New York. We could have Do You Know the Way to San Jose? We could have I've Got a Girl in Kalamazoo, the Chattanooga Choo Choo. We could have Meet Me in St. Louis, right? All different songs that talk about a United States city. All right, hopefully your mind is going now and we're thinking about songs that fit into different categories or different themes. So why don't we think about, as we think about summertime, and we think about possibly traveling or reminiscing about traveling, let's think about songs that have to do with cars, automobiles, right? Our 4-wheeled friends that get us place to place, right? Can you think of 2 songs that have the name of a car or a make or model of a car? Does anything come to mind? Maybe you're thinking about the USA that you're driving in your Chevrolet to see, right? The USA in your Chevrolet. Maybe you're having fun in Daddy's T-Bird, his Thunderbird. Or maybe you're driving the Merry Oldsmobile. Or maybe you're actually driving around in your pink Cadillac. That'd be a nice, sweet ride, right? So if we think about songs that have cars in them, hopefully you were able to come up with 2 songs that have a song, a car, or make or model of a car in the title. Let's go ahead and think of things that we might like to eat. Goodness knows there are great songs about food that we can think of, right? So can you think of 2 songs that have a food in the title? Something we like to eat, something we like to drink, maybe. 2 songs that have a food in the title. Can you think of anything? See if you can write down a couple of songs that might have a food in the title. How about that song, Animal Crackers in My Soup, right? Or On the Good Ship, Lollipop would be another one about food, right? Or Hot Diggity Dog Diggity Boom, What You Do to Me, right? Or there's Ida Sippin's Apple Cider, Sweet as Apple Cider, right? Different songs that have foods in the title, right? Makes me think of that singer who used to wear the basket of fruit on her head, Carmen Miranda, right? That was a kind of a little kitschy thing that she used to do, right? Now, thinking about food specifically, that is fruit. Can you think of 2 songs and write them down or say them out loud in your mind or with your voice? 2 songs that have to do with a fruit. Take a second and think about that. Are you able to think of any songs that have a fruit in the title? There are lots of songs about apples, so that's an easy one. In the shade of the old apple tree, or Don't Sit Under the Apple Tree. I'll Be With You and Apple Blossom Time would be another one, right? If we think about other fruit songs, you could say I Found My Thrill on Blueberry Hill. Or there's the good old-fashioned song from the 20s, Yes, We Have No Bananas. No bananas. What would life be like without any banana cream pie? So now let's go ahead and think of ladies' names. There are so many songs in the repertoire from your generation and before and beyond about women and women's names in the title. So let's think about 2 songs that have a lady's name in the title. Can you think of 2 that have a lady's name? Anything come to mind? If we have anybody named Alice listening, she might say, In My Sweet Little Alice Blue Gown. If we have anyone named Mary listening, she might say, Mary's a grand old name, right? Gosh, if we have a Rose, she might say, My Wild Irish Rose. If we have a Kathleen, she might be saying, I'll take you home again, Kathleen, right? Or maybe we have a Jeannie with the light brown hair, right? That might be another one. Maybe we have a Bonnie listening and saying, My Bonnie lies over the ocean. There are so many songs, and I bet some that you didn't even come up with. There's a Linda, I believe, a song called Linda. There's Rosemary, right? I Love You. All kinds of different songs that have women's name. That list could probably be a lot longer than the 2 that I asked you for. Now, to be fair, let's think about songs that have a man's name in the title. Can you think of 2 songs that have a man's name in the title? There aren't as many of them, but there are still some goodies from your generation, from your genre of music. Can you think of any? Maybe it is Won't You Come Home, Bill Bailey, or I'm Just Wild About Harry, or maybe it's Oh Johnny, right? That could be another one. Songs about men, or maybe there's My Bill, or maybe there is When Johnny Comes Marching Home, right? Gosh, what other ones could there be? Any other songs about men that you can think of? McNamara. Mr. McNamara was the leader of the band, right? That's a male name, right? So all this time we're getting our wheels turning without using the melody and the words of the song. We're just using the titles of the song, right? It's a great way to exercise your mind and something you can do on your own as well. Let's see if we have a couple of minutes more. Can you think of any songs that have to do with the moon? Any songs that have to do with the moon? Let's take a few seconds and see if we can think about 2 songs, you can jot them down, that have to do with the moon. How about In the Evening by the Moonlight, or Shine on Harvest Moon, Say It's Only a Paper Moon, or Moonlight Bay. That's another great one from your generation as well, right? Great songs. All right, since we've had so much rain lately, let's do 2 songs that have to do with rain. Can you think of them? Write them down, say them out loud. 2 songs that have to do with the rain. With as much rain as you've had, maybe you've thought about some singing in the rain, some raindrops keep falling on my head. Maybe you've had some thinking about stormy weather. That would talk about the rain, right? Gray skies are going to clear up and put on a happy face, right? Or maybe some April showers have come to mind when you think about rain. Some great songs. It's been pretty fun to kind of see kids outside splashing in the puddles as soon as the sun comes out when the rain has been happening lately, right? All right, now we're going to do 2 more categories. And the second to last one is songs that all talk about our eyes. Can you think of 2 of them? Write them down or say them out loud. Think of 2 songs that talk about eyes. Can you think of any? How about Ma? He's making eyes at me. Oh, there's an Irish one. Talks about eyes. When Irish eyes are smiling. And there's one about us being a certain height and having eyes of blue. What could that be? 5'2", eyes of blue. Exactly right. All right, we're gonna do one last category, and this is kind of a funny one. Let's think about songs that have to do with the weather. Not just rain this time, but songs about the weather. See if you can think of some. Think about Lena Horne. Maybe she sang a song about the weather. Or Judy Garland. Yeah. Can you think of Lena Horne singing Stormy Weather? Or Judy Garland singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow? Or maybe one of those jazz singers singing Blue Skies? Or someone grabbing their coat and getting their hat and leaving their worries on the doorstep with the sunny side of the street. All those are songs about the weather. I hope you've had a chance to think about some of these songs in the different categories, and you can think about all sorts of other categories of music that you could think of. It's a great exercise for our mind and a chance to really think about the topics of songs and not just the words that go along with them. Thanks for joining me. We've taken some time to exercise our mind with songs and talking about categories. And now it's time for us to exercise our mind, reminiscing a little bit around the topic of summertime. In recent groups, both in person and on video, we've talked about summer and some of our favorite parts of summer and looked at different parts of summer that bring back memories, especially musical memories. So today, let's kick off our time about summer with a song in the good old summertime. A song that I learned is now 119 years old, I think I figured out today. In the good old summertime, in the good old summertime, strolling through the shady lane with my baby mine. You hold her hand and she holds yours, and that's a very good sign that she's your tootsie wootsie in the good old summertime, in the good old summertime. So we're thinking about summer, right? Thinking about the aspects of summer that we enjoy and that bring us joy, right, as we go through the summer months. So the way we're going to do this now is we're going to think about some specific songs that kind of create a bit of a summer playlist. And this playlist, all the songs they center around the topic of summer. So I'm going to describe some words of a song to you, and then I want you to think about what song it might be. For example, this song tells a story of a mammy or a nanny, a slave on a plantation down south, singing to her charge, her baby that she might be caring for, maybe a plantation owner's child. And it's written and sung in Porgy and Bess, and I wonder if you can think about what song it might be. Da 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 da. Can you think of what song that might be? How about Summertime and the Livin' Is Easy? Exactly right. And some of these songs we're not able to sing in full because we're doing the video recording today, and because of copyright issues, they're not songs that I have the legality to be singing and to be putting on the internet like we were doing today. So we'll just talk through some of the lyrics. What song might tell a story of someone learning how to ride the waves maybe a young girl learning how to ride the boards in California. A song written by the Beach Boys and performed by the Beach Boys in probably about 1960s, early 1960s, right? Anybody know what it might have been? How about Surfer Girl, Little Surfer Girl, right? What about one that talks about walking under something? Think about New Jersey and think about maybe walking somewhere near the water, kind of a bridge, not quite a bridge. You're walking under something. Can you think of what it might have been? This was a song produced and sung by the Drifters in the 1960s, 1964. They sang Under the Boardwalk. You might recognize that one. All right, so Frank Sinatra, Old Blue Eyes. We know that he had lots of songs that were popular at different times of the year, but he had one particular song that was famous about summer, and he talks about the summer something that blows, kind of blows in and out. What might blow in the summer? How about Summer Winds? You might look that one up if you can't remember that one. It's a great Frank Sinatra song from the 60s. What about one that Nat King Cole sang in 1963? And he talks about the season of summer having three adjectives that describe it, and they all rhyme together, okay? And let's say that they rhyme with Maisie, something that rhymes with Maisie. 3 other words that rhyme with Maisie, and they describe summer. They describe the days of summer. Can you think of what they might be? How about we're going to roll out these something days of summer? The lazy, hazy, crazy days of summer, right? What if I tell you about the song that was sung by Brian Hyland and produced in the 1960s? He was on the grand bandstand kind of shows with Dick Clark, and he sang it, and he tells a story of a little girl who's wearing a swimsuit for the first time as she goes to the beach. She's a little nervous, she's a little hesitant. First, she doesn't even want to come out of the locker, and then she doesn't even want to get off the towel, and then she's in the water, and she's wearing something very particular, a particular color and a particular style. What might she be wearing? Would that be the itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini? It is, yes. All right, how about another one? If we think about other songs that go along with summer, what is the song that tells the story of one of summertime's best sports? We sing it at the end of a 7th inning at every game, and each team in the league has this as part of their traditions. How about Take Me Out to the Ball Game? Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And as we think about other songs that have to do with summer, I apologize for the background noise here as I continue recording. As we think about other songs that talk about summer, we can think about some others that talk about more surfing from the Beach Boys. Just as kind of thinking about it, the Beach Boys had Surfin' Safari, Surfin' USA, they had Surfer Girl, and they had also just other fun songs that really kind of go along with the season of summer and kind of sound like fun music. I wonder if you can think back in your minds and reminisce a little bit, take a bit of a sentimental journey to think about what songs might have been a part of your summers. See if you can think about a particular title or maybe a particular band or a heartthrob that you remember singing that sang songs about summer. As we get ready to celebrate the 4th of July, it's one of the songs that comes to mind early in my thinking is Stars and Stripes Forever. As someone who has played in a band for years, since I was a child, I can tell you many times that I've played Stars and Stripes Forever. And, you know, as someone who plays it and sees other people enjoy it, there's always a bit of a rush that comes when performing that song, written by John Philip Sousa in the late 1800s. It's a song that stirs the patriotism. Interestingly enough, in 1987, Congress passed a bill enacting that this was like the official march of the United States. So I wanted to take a little bit of time today and share some of the history. of Stars and Stripes Forever. And then we'll take some time to listen to it, and maybe you do a little bit of moving around and find a flag and wave it if you have one at your disposal for the moment. But to tell you a little bit about the story of Stars and Stripes Forever. As I mentioned, it was written in the late 1800s. The words were actually written, I think, after the song was written. But it was officially debuted in 1897 in Philadelphia. And it kind of got mixed reviews. It wasn't necessarily, seen as this amazing song. It was a typical Susan March kind of, acceptance, right, in the public. But later on, with the start of the Spanish-American War, around the turn of the century, there was a need and a desire to have more patriotic music. And so there began to be a little bit of more trooping of the colors, right? Kind of that pomp and circumstance of trooping the colors. And so this song, Stars and Stripes Forever, became associated with that time and became much more widely popular. So the story goes that John Philip Sousa was actually in Europe. And while in Europe in 1896, he learned of the passing of his manager of the Sousa Band. And he was very, very struck by that. And it was an emotional time for him. He felt the need to definitely return home and kind of take care of his own that were in the organization, and felt this kinship to this man that, and this sense of patriotism for how he had served his country and served the musicians that he conducted. And so this was kind of a chance for him to give back to them. So it's very interesting to see how it came about. Apparently on his passage back from Europe, he paced up and down the deck, and in an interview in his one of his books or his biographies, talks about that he heard the band playing the song in his head, but not until he got off the boat and arrived in America did it actually get penned or written down on staff paper and heard, I guess, for the first time, except for outside of Sousa's head. So as we think about it, the song has 3 different parts, which I had never really stopped to realize. There are a few different melodies. 3 of them. And it's interesting because the 3 different melodies themes are set to kind of represent different parts of the country at that time in our country's history. So we had the North and the South, right? We're coming out of the Civil War time. And we also have the West, which is being developed, right? And so different parts of the song represent the North, the South, and the West. So if you listen to it, the broad melody, kind of that main theme, da da, that you hear at the beginning of the song, dum dum da dum 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 dum. That's to represent the North, right? The northern part of the country. And then you have the part where the piccolo comes in. Da dum 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 da 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 dum dum da 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 dum 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 da 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 dum dum da 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 dum dum dum. That's they call the piccolo obbligato. And any piccolo player that's a really good piccolo player will have that memorized and will often stand when it's performed. That is to represent the South. And then you hear the da 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 dum da da dum. That bold melody, kind of smooth melody, that is represented in the trombones is actually said to have represented the West and kind of this exploration that was happening. So it's kind of broader and longer and drawn out, right? So we know that it's a bit of a masterpiece, right? Every band plays it. Whenever Sousa conducted it, it was one of those things that, there wasn't a Sousa concert that went by that didn't have this song played. It was oftentimes just the encore at the end. And it was one of those things where it's become America's song, right? Very, very emotional for him. And a lot of people will stand up on their feet and clap at the end of that last strand. And it's always almost general practice for performances to have the brass section and the piccolo players stand in that last section of the song as well. So I hope that you can enjoy John Philip Sousa's Stars and Stripes Forever, and enjoy this kind of time where you might reminisce about when you would have heard this on the 4th of July. Maybe you heard it at a public band concert or a community band concert. Maybe you saw it on TV as you watched fireworks take place in Boston or in Washington, D.C. or another large city. Maybe you remember hearing it on the radio. Maybe you remember playing it as a musician. Maybe you can remember those afterbeats or that piccolo part or that long obbligato melody. Regardless, I hope that you can experience it. And in this next segment, we'll go ahead and listen to a copy of one of our military bands play John Philip Sousa's Stars and Stripes Forever. As I mentioned before, Stars and Stripes is actually our national march, declared by Congress in 1987. It's also a good old-fashioned toe-tapping march that most everyone knows, recognizes, and embraces as kind of an American icon. And so today we're going to go ahead and listen to it performed by the U.S. Marine Band. And we're going to go ahead and get ourselves moving a little bit, because we all know that music is a great way to exercise our bodies. And so go ahead and follow me as we listen to the Stars and Stripes Forever March, and go ahead and get yourself going a little bit. Tap those toes, clap those hands. We're going to do some shoulder shrugs. We're going to get ourselves going. So let's go ahead and plant our feet flat on the floor and make it sure that you can have a little bit of room around you to move. And we'll take a nice deep breath in. We take a nice deep breath in and out. And just go ahead and try to shake your body out a little bit. And for these next few minutes, we're just going to move around a bit, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and start the music, and then you can follow my motions. I will not speak during the song, but you can follow my motions. little bit of time to exercise with Stars and Stripes Forever. In our next segment, I'm going to read you the words of this song, and I hope that you'll enjoy the extra special meaning behind the lyrics. Something we don't hear very often, but very meaningful and very poignant, and definitely appropriate to read on the 4th of July. Thanks for moving and grooving with me a little bit with Stars and Stripes. As I mentioned, there are actually lyrics to the Stars and Stripes Forever song, and we don't hear them very often, and I think it's kind of fitting on the 4th of July to hear them and reflect on them, so I'm going to read them to you, and then I'll actually sing the part that we're all familiar with that you actually might have heard sung by a choir if they were accompanied by a military band or a band of any type. So the words go like this: "Let martial note in triumph float, and liberty extend its mighty hand. A flag appears mid thunderous cheers, the banner of the western land, the emblem of the brave and true. Its folds protect no tyrant crew. The red and white and starry blue is freedom's shield and hope. Other nations may deem their flags the best and cheer them with fervid elation, but the flag of the North and South and West is the flag of flags, the flag of freedom's nation. Hurrah for the flag of the free, may it wave as our standard forever, the gem of the land and the sea, the banner of the right. Let despots remember the day when our fathers with mighty endeavor proclaimed as they marched to the fray that by their might and by their right it waves forever. Let eagles shriek from lofty peak, the never-ending watchword of our land. Let summer breeze waft through the trees, the echo of the chorus grand. Sing out for liberty and light, sing out for freedom and right, sing out for the Union and its might, O patriotic sons. Other nations may deem their flag the best, and cheer them with fervid elation, but the flag of the North and the South and the West is the flag of flags, the flag of freedom's nation. Hurrah for the flag of the free, may it wave as our standard forever, the gem of the land and the sea, the banner of the right. Let despots remember the day when our fathers with might endeavor proclaimed as they marched to the fray that by their might and by their right it waves forever." So the last part that you might recognize is, "Hurrah for the flag of the free, may it wave as our standard forever, the gem of the land and the sea, the banner of the right. Let despots remember the day when our fathers with might and endeavor proclaimed as they marched to the fray that by their might and by their right it waves forever." I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about the Stars and Stripes Forever March, written by John Philip Sousa, our national march, especially around this time of the 4th of July. As we take time to reflect on the 4th of July and some of our memories and some of our favorite parts of it, I wanted to take a chance to just have some great old-fashioned singing of patriotic songs today. I have to say, working with your generation is truly inspirational. It is just eye-opening to me and amazing to hear and learn about the stories of patriotism that come from your generation, given all the things that you've witnessed in your lives, the things you've learned, the ways you've come together as a country. Truly, as someone of a younger generation, I have learned so much from those of you in this generation about patriotism, about love of country. So let's gather together with that unity and sing some of our favorite patriotic songs. I will let you know that we can't sing all of them that I might want to sing, but we will sing some together again when I'm in person at the Holmstad next week. Because of copyright issues, there are a couple big ones that I won't be able to sing over our video, but we will gather and sing those in person as well. Let's start off by thinking about the song America the Beautiful, written on top of Pikes Peak, and a song that truly depicts in its lyrics, the beauty of our country, the geographical beauty of our country. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. While we sing it through one more time, I challenge you to think about the things that you find beautiful about our country. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea, from sea to shining sea. As we think about other patriotic songs, it can kind of get us all stirred up and feeling very patriotic. One that comes to mind is Glory, Glory, Hallelujah, or the Battle Hymn of the Republic. This one is especially when we get the 4th of July, as you might hear fireworks, or might go to a parade and see someone marching and playing it. And it's one that heard in that instrumental version, kind of an atmosphere is very stirring. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He has loosed His faithful lightning of His terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. I have seen Him in the watchfires of 100 circling camps. They are building Him an altar in the evening dews and damps. Be swift, my soul, to honor Him. Be jubilant, my feet. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. His truth is marching on. And as we think about the 4th of July, it's hard not to sing and think about some of the music of George M. Cohan, right? One of our patriotic songwriters of your generation and a little bit your parents' generation as well. If we think about George M. Cohan, songs like You're a Grand Old Flag come to mind, or I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy. Let's go ahead and do those. You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true beneath the red, white, or blue, where there's never Do you have memories of maybe waving a flag in a parade or carrying a flag? Do you have memories of learning how to fold a flag in Girl Scouts or in Boy Scouts? Do you have memories of saluting a flag during a time of service? Do you have memories of saying the pledge to the flag as you grew up at school? Do you have memories of receiving a flag at the funeral of a loved one? So many memories looking at the flag. You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true beneath the red, white, or blue, where there's never a boast or brag. But should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the grand old flag. Keep your eye on the grand old flag. And finally today, as we think about other patriotic songs, let's think about some of our favorite songs that we might hear from the military. Yeah? Let's go ahead and think about something like the caissons go rolling along. Over hill, over dale, as we hit the dusty trail, and the caissons go rolling along. Forward march, turn about and march around, while the caissons go rolling along. Then it's high, high in the field artillery. Call out your numbers loud and strong. Wherever we go, you will always know that those caissons go rolling along. That those caissons go rolling along. We also might have somebody in the group today listening and watching that was in the Navy. Anchors aweigh, my boys, anchors aweigh. Farewell to college boys, we sail at break of day. To our last night ashore, drink to the full, until we meet again. Here's wishing you a happy voyage home, wishing you a happy voyage home. And as we think about ourselves, maybe we define ourselves as someone who's very patriotic. Maybe we'd even say that we're a Yankee Doodle Dandy. I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die, a real live nephew of my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart. She's my Yankee Doodle joy. Yankee Doodle went to London just to ride a pony. I am a Yankee Doodle boy. Yes, I am a Yankee Doodle boy. So maybe think about some of those things that you've done in your life that would qualify as being patriotic acts. Have you written letters to someone? Have you served our country in some way? Have you saluted the flag in some way? did you vote? Right? What are those things that you've done in your lifetime that have made you that Yankee Doodle dandy? I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die, a real life nephew of my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart, 'cause she's my Yankee Doodle joy. Yankee Doodle went to London just to ride a pony. I am a Yankee Doodle boy. Yes, I am a Yankee Doodle boy. As our time draws to a close for today, I wish you a very happy 4th of July. I hope you're able to reflect on this day, thinking of times with friends and family. Maybe you have in the past, or maybe even looking forward to time you'll have with friends and family this year. I hope you're able to reflect on the beauty of our country and also look at the ways that it can continue to grow and evolve and change. I hope you can think of ways that you can pass on that strong sense of patriotism that you have as a generation to those generations of my children and even my grandchildren someday, right? And think about probably feeling this way at the end of the day. You've watched the fireworks. Back in the day, you might have had the station wagon packed, getting out of a parking lot after the fireworks. You might be tired and want to go home. So as you wrap up our time today, we'll sing, show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. I had a little drink about an hour ago and it went right to my head. Wherever I may roam, on land or sea or foam, you will always hear me singing this song. Show me the way to go. Oh, show me the way to go home. I wish you all a very happy 4th of July and a continuation of a wonderful summer. Enjoy the sunshine and the warm weather, and I will see you again next Thursday in the town center and also in Park Manor. Have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for joining me today.